So, as you alluded to, how and when did Josephus switch sides?
So Josephus's tenure in the north begins in late 66 and manages finally to put together an army of people in the Galilee. And the fighting against the Romans begins in early 67. And basically the story of his tenure as general in the north, basically fighting against the Romans, it really only lasts for about 6 months. As I said before, Sepphoris ends up seceding and aligns themselves firmly with the Romans. The Romans are able to use Sepphoris. Basically, they house a garrison in Sepphoris. They really use it as a base of operations. And Josephus sort of fails in battle after battle, and his last stand is at the city of Yotvata. Yotvata was at a strategic location in the north, and the story that Josephus tells is that his army and the city are decimated. He talks about 40,000 people as having lost their lives. The Romans are victorious. They raze the city to the ground. And Josephus, who, as I said before, had remarkable survival instincts, Josephus manages in the heat of battle to evade capture. And he says that by divine intervention, and again, this is going to be one of Josephus's consistent themes. Josephus is always saying, God is on my side. God is on my side. Josephus says that he manages in the heat of battle to discover an underground bunker. And he says in this underground bunker, there were 40 other dignitaries, people who were aligned with him, some of his commanders, some other important leaders. He says many of his soldiers and many of the commanders actually committed suicide in the heat of battle, but that wasn't for Josephus. Josephus seeks refuge in this underground bunker. This underground bunker, it turns out, is discovered by the Romans after a couple of days, and the Romans try to lure Josephus out. Josephus won't have this. Initially, Josephus is inclined to surrender, but these people that are in the bunker with him refuse to allow him to hand himself over, and they threaten his life if he tries to do so. Josephus then says that he's not going to surrender. They advocate committing suicide, and Josephus then delivers an extended monologue that opposes suicide both on philosophical and religious grounds, and he convinces his compatriots, these 40 other people in this bunker, convinces them not to commit suicide. And the compromise, essentially, is that they're going to draw lots, and as each successive person draws his lot, that person will kill the person next to them, leaving only one man standing, and that last person standing will be forced to commit suicide. Now, the choosing of lots proceeds. Josephus is one of the final two people. Josephus had committed himself to this whole process, and again, Josephus's survival instincts kick in, and he manages to convince this other person that had survived with him, we're better off not killing each other, right? One of them was to kill the other, and the final one was going to commit suicide. He says, let's just surrender, right? We're of no use to the Jewish people if we kill ourselves. And Josephus has received a dream that he says, a repeated dream from God, that empowers him to surrender to the Romans and become an advocate on behalf of the Jews, to try and serve as sort of a fifth column from within the Roman camp, trying to essentially avert disaster. He's going to now represent the Roman cause to the Jews, trying to win the favor of the Romans, so that perhaps what he'll manage to do from within is going to convince the Jews not to proceed with this rebellion. And so what he does is he surrenders. One of the first things that he seeks is an interview with the general Vespasian. He famously predicts for Vespasian that Vespasian eventually will become emperor. And that prophecy, which sounds very much like the encounter that Rabban Yochanan ben Zakkai is said to have had with Vespasian, that prophecy is actually referred to in other Roman sources. So it seems to have acquired a certain amount of renown. Vespasian comes to believe in that prophecy, and he treats Josephus especially well. Josephus becomes a prisoner of war for a couple of years. He's captured in the summer of 67, remains a prisoner of war for about 2 years, after which he's released. So that's sort of the context in which Josephus ends up leaving the Jewish camp and becoming a member of the Roman camp.